Hey, Lorain County football fans, and welcome back to a chilly edition of The Blitz, brought to you by our friends at First Federal Savings of Lorain. We are here at the home of the Avon Eagles. It is Mark Wahlberg Chevrolet Stadium. I'm your host, Rocco Nushi, the one and only Kristen Bauer behind the camera, and you see those Eagles practicing behind us. They are getting ready for regional semifinal action. They got a huge win over North Royalton as they await the Olmsted Falls Bulldogs for a rematch in the SWC. We'll get to that and a whole lot more again right here on The Blitz, brought to you by our friends at First Federal Savings of Lorain. Well, before we dive into the action as far as the game recaps from the quarterfinals go, leading into semifinal action, got to start by giving a huge congratulations to Levi Ellis, running back for the Elyria Catholic Panthers. He is your 2020-22 Golden Helmet Award winner. Given to the best Lorain County football player for their efforts this season. And for Levi, well-deserved. A four-year, two-way starter for Coach Brian Fox. Just this season alone, over 2,000 yards for Levi on the ground, 29 rushing touchdowns. Wow. And he's the first Panther to win the award since Danny Reeser won it back in 2010. So a huge congratulations goes to Levi Ellis, again, your 2022 Golden Helmet Award winner. So regional quarterfinal action last week. What happened? Well, first and foremost, a hats off to Avon Lake. The Shoreman season comes to a close. They are blanked by Toledo Central Catholic 21-0, but a heck of an effort for Coach Kostelnik's team. They had it tied at halftime. It was 0-0, and that's not easy to do against Toledo Central Catholic. Again, a program loaded with Division I college prospects and recruits. Avon Lake, they fought hard against them. They just come up short, so Avon Lake season comes to a close, but still hats off to Coach Kostelnik and his team for a really hard-fought season and a terrific 2022. We mentioned Elyria Catholic already. They throttled Clear Fork 42-14. Levi Ellis, 200 yards for him in that game. 4 touchdowns. One scamper was from 87 yards away. The kid is just ridiculous, folks. He had 2 interceptions defensively as well. We mentioned him being a two-way starter. He can do it on offense. He can do it on defense. Maybe throw him out there on special teams. Heck, while we're at it, he can pretty much do it all. So 378 total rushing yards for Elyria Catholic in that win. Just 250 yards for Clear Fork totally offensively. So real dominant performance from Elyria Catholic. They forced 3 turnovers as the defense came along for the ride with that Panther offense. Columbia, a huge win for those Raiders over Hopewell Loud, and I had the call for that one along with Andy Bull Barch. 36-6 was the final score there. Sticking with the theme of running backs, it's been the year of the tailback, and how about Marco Sirigliano, the junior for the Raiders? 5 touchdowns, 145 rushing yards in that win over the Chieftains. A really fantastic performance from him, and defensively as well. They were led by Vince Berardi. 2 interceptions against Hopewell Loudon to lead them to victory. Again, 36-6 was the final score there. These Avon Eagles, mentioned it already, they roll past North Royalton 35-14. The Bears jumped out to a 7-0 lead, but the man that they've needed maybe the most this season, Sam Titilio, he rose to the occasion. He shined as he has all postseason long. They're hoping for that to continue. As Sam, he did it with his arm, throwing for 2 touchdowns and over 160 yards, but he did it with his legs as well. 13 carries, 133 yards. 8 of those 13 carries were for first downs. He had a touchdown run as well, so he can do it with his arm. He can do it with his legs. That's what Coach Elder has told me all season long, and Titilio continues to show it as he did against North Royalton. And over in Medina County, the Bees get a win over Wadsworth, 49-35. Danny Stoddard, this kid is unbelievable. He runs for 3 touchdowns, and he throws for 4. So 7 total touchdowns for Danny Stoddard in that win. The Bees are moving on. Jack Wojak, 11 catches, 120 yards for the Bees. We've said his name a lot on the show this season. And Highland beat up on North Olmsted 49-7. So there's kind of your look at the quarterfinal action from last week. That leads us to regional semifinal action this week. And what a week we have. Already mentioned it, these Avon Eagles, who again are practicing behind me here at Mark Wahlberg Chevrolet Stadium. Big shout out to the Eagles for having us out here for this episode of The Blitz. Again, they meet up with Olmsted Falls. That'll be our radio and stream 1 game on Friday on WEOL. That one will be at Strongsville, home of the Mustangs. And again, this is a rematch from the regular season. Avon rolled past Olmsted Falls, 63-42 was the final. Hopefully looking for some better defense this time around, I think, on both sides. Sam Titilio, he threw for 6 touchdowns and over 370 yards last time, so he did it with his arm. Like we mentioned last week, he did it with his legs, so maybe he'll have to do that again against Olmsted Falls as the Bulldogs will have to try and change things up. Offensively, Olmsted Falls really relies on Rocco Conti. No secret about it. They tried to do that against Avon. These Eagles were well prepared the first time around, so Olmsted Falls got to have to find some different answers outside of Conti to get the job done this time around. Again, that'll be our radio and stream 1 game on Friday on WEOL. Our Stream 2 game on Friday on WEOL. It's Medina at Menor from Twinsburg. Another rematch from the regular season in the GCC. The Bees pulled away late in this one as the Cardinals were hanging tough throughout the game. They forced a couple of turnovers, a couple of bad Danny Stoddard throws, but in the end, it was just too much Medina as those Bees, that offense, they are very, very tough to stop. So the game plan for Medina, I would imagine, will be much of the same. Air it out, spread it out, get Menor tired early. For the Cardinals, got to find a way to slow down that Bees offense. On Saturday, finally, we got some Saturday high school football playoff action here in the area. It's a battle of the 12-0s as the Columbia Raiders take on Ashland Crestview. This one will be played at Medina, and this is a really, really good matchup. Ashland Crestview out of the Firelands Conference, again, undefeated. They won the conference, averaging over 30 points a game. So this Raider defense under Jason Ward, they're going to have their work cut out for them, as again they're coming off of a game where they held the Hopewell Loudon Chieftains to just 6 points, really looked dominant from start to finish. I don't know if it's going to come that easy against Ashland Crestview, so Columbia, they're going to have to rise to the occasion. And of course, if you can get Marco Sirigliano going offensively, anything's really possible. And finally, our Stream 2 game on Saturday, it's Elyria Catholic and Glenville. That's right, those Tarblooders under Ted Ginn Sr. Look, 11-0, this is a really good Glenville team. They beat these Avon Eagles earlier this season. They beat the St. Vincent St. Mary Fighting Irish. Again, just a really, really talented team littered with college recruits and prospects. And so if you're Elyria Catholic, you can't go into this one intimidated, right? You know Brian Fox isn't going to be their head coach. You know those kids are going to feed off that energy and off that intensity as they always do. But you can't go into Saturday scared. Yes, Glenville's a powerhouse. Yes, they're undefeated. Yes, they're really good. That doesn't mean it can't happen, though. You know, any given Sunday, as they say in the NFL, well, any given Saturday this week should be the motto for those EC Panthers. Again, they got to try and get it done. It can't just be Levi Ellis, right? You got to have other people who help. And it hasn't just been Levi this season, you know, not to say that, but they're going to need some other help in order to beat Glenville on Saturday. So there are your games again. Avon and Homestead Falls Friday on the radio in Stream 1. Medina at Menor, Stream 2 on Friday, and then 2 games on Saturday as well. Columbia and Ashland Crestview on the radio in Stream 1. And on Stream 2, it's Elyria Catholic and Glenville. Again, those will be 7 o'clock kickoffs for all 3. So that'll do it for this week's episode of The Blitz. A bit of a chilly one here at Avon, but no worries. Those Eagles getting ready for Friday night right behind us. So it should be a heck of a regional semifinal round this Friday and Saturday. Again, tune into WEOL and stay up to date with the Chronicle Telegram for the game recaps, the write-ups, and all that good stuff. So for Kristen Bauer behind the camera, for the folks here at Avon, I'm Rocco Nucci saying thank you for listening to The Blitz, brought to you by our friends at First Federal Savings of Lorain. We'll see you next week.